Hello, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. So we are just over a massive deluge. I'm talking buckets and buckets of rain from Tropical Storm Beta, which moved through the Houston area just a day or so ago. And only yesterday morning did it finally quit raining after what seems like days and days. And it reminded me of one of my favorite anthropomorphisms of sorts about God in the Bible. So do you remember the story about Noah and the flood, which obviously is what brought this to mind? The story, which is contained in the book of Genesis, has an interesting passage, and it used to bother me like crazy when I was a kid. The passage says that after, Noah had built the ark, the waters had come down 40 days and 40 nights, the whole earth was flooded. Noah sits adrift for months afterwards in the ark with all of these animals smelling up the place. And then it says, and God remembered Noah and caused the waters to recede. Now, that used to bother me. I did not like the idea of God being someone who forgot Noah. And for God to remember meant he had already forgotten. It's like God's up in heaven, he's doing his thing, and one day he goes, ah, caramba, Noah's down there. Man, we totally forgot. And it seemed very inconsistent with me. And it wasn't until I studied Hebrew that I learned the key that unlocks not only this, but changes the way we read some other scriptures as well. Here's the key. The Hebrew word for remember is zakar. Zakar. And zakar is translated remember most of the time, not always. But zakar doesn't mean at its root that something had been forgotten and is then remembered. At its root, it means that someone is taking action because of what is in their thoughts, in their mind. In other words, the emphasis of that verb to remember is not, gee, I'd forgotten it, now I remember it. The emphasis is, I'm taking action because of what I know. So within the framework of that, you've got Noah, and God says, it says God remembered Noah. What he's saying is God took action because of the commitment he had made to Noah. It's not acting as if God had forgotten. Now, why is this important? You've got countless passages of Scripture that ask God to remember us, or where God says he will remember us. And I'm thinking of passages like Psalm 25, verse 6 and 7. And I'm dying to tell you about it. And that's what I'll do in part 2 of God Remembers. I'll talk to you about that tomorrow.